Global warming and extinction of species, and every day more possible nuclear winter. But who cares? I don't know. I'm just an ordinary person, who has come to a point where I can do pretty much whatever I want. I'm so comfortable. And I just started to give out my opinions, and then I find questions, and then I'm not happy with what I find. What can I say? Anyway, I've wanted to say this ever since this came out some time ago. Worldview, our personal take on events. Religion and science can have a true dialogue. A popular assumption that there is a conflict between the church and the research world should be dispelled, says Catherine Pritchard. Religion and science can have a true dialogue. Dear Catherine, my darling dear Catherine, no they can't. And I am absolutely delighted to learn that there is a popular assumption that there is a conflict between the church and the research world. Outstanding. Let's go on from that. World headlines. More than 400 people are killed by smog as lethal blanket of pollution smothers Iranian capital. That'll be Tehran. Daily Mail reporting. Oh boy. Dear Iranians, I am so sorry. Total, the major French multinational oil and gas company, announces installation of solar panels at 5,000 gas stations. And electric, that reports this says that later on, it's an easy transition. They later could be the first step to convert stations to EV, electric vehicle charging stations. I mean, yeah. Wonderful vision. The worst news of the day. Russia quits International Criminal Court. CNN, Clinton News Network reporting. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that the ICC had failed to meet the expectations to become a truly independent, authoritative international tribunal. Indeed. The Ruskies are totally correct on that point. And still, as much as I dislike the Russian government, they have been treated really unfairly by the international community, considering that everybody's doing the same, or at least the Western community, because everybody's doing the same crap, but they're the only ones that are blamed. And now they're leaving, and it's a tragedy, and it is the fault of the international community. I'm so sorry. I guess the funniest news of the day, or tragicomic. China tells Trump that climate change is no hoax it invented. Bloomberg reporting. The World 2016. The People's Republic of China officially tells the US president that climate change is not a hoax invented by the Chinese. A petition calling for fossil fuel lobbyists to be excluded from the UN climate change negotiations has been forced into the hands of the US delegation in Morocco, The Guardian reporting. Again, that would be perhaps a rant at some point. I mean, who invented lobbyists? I mean, it cannot be the founding fathers of the Chelsea Manning country. I mean, that's not possible. When did these bastards, where did they come from? Where did they appeared? And then climate change negotiations, fossil fuel lobbyists in the US delegation. Again, which delegation? Which delegation is this going to be forced in their hands, this petition? The US. I mean, The Guardian continuing. Australia ranked among worst developed countries for climate change action. You know, I would love to have and you know some reliable sort of information in Australia. I mean, what the heck is going on there? I mean, should that be a haven for solar energy? I mean, what is going on? Reuters. Turkey's Erdogan could govern until 2029 under plans to change constitution. Reuters continuing. Ecuador says Sweden should promise Assange will not be extradited. In bloody deed. And again, under the surface, Sweden, there are several ethical questions. But this story about with Assange, one of the great heroes of our time, I mean, there's a big story somewhere. And at the since that reminds me, if there by some miracle would be some sort of a treaty between the U.S. and Russia to hand over Edward Snowden, please, international community, for fuck's sake, somebody take him in. I mean, please. Then I guess what I was wondering yesterday, it was true, because Reuters continuing, China websites block searches for Fatty Kim III. And the last one is in connection with somehow with what I'm trying to do, but oh boy. David Cameron charging £120,000 per hour for speeches on Brexit. The Independent reporting. Again, this neoliberal nightmare. And I had an epiphany. During the last 24 hours, I got to Tariq Ali and his but also, for example, from the Finnish point of view, his prediction of the extreme center, which to me, I mean, at least it nails Finland. I've been wondering what is going on, the extreme center. And again, I mean, I don't know, but there seemed to be such a connection with everything, everywhere. I mean, very quickly, one can find people who were supposed to do something, to change everything for ordinary people and bring back some sort of social democracy. Well, in the Chelsea Manning country, it's I guess a bit different. I mean, Clinton was supposed to do something good. Huge right winger. He did something very bad. But Obama was supposed to bring about change, and he didn't. Again, a right winger, and again the same thing that Bill Clinton did in the United States. I mean, doing something that a Republican could not do, Blair did in the United Kingdom. He did something that a Tory could not have done at that time, and so on and so on and so on. I feel one of the Finnish prime ministers, who was supposed to be a social democrat, was nothing of the sort, and he finished Finland off, and I not yet had time to look on it, but is it possible that Gerhard Schröder did that in Germany? But anyway, this total removal of I mean, disappearance of the left. Every leftist and every right-wing party, they're all pretty much the same. Very little minor, pitiful differences, and certainly no differences about the system, anything, and an electoral system that really doesn't allow anyone from the outside in, and a total support from the mainstream media, unquestionable support for everything. And again, this really doesn't, I've said this before, I'm the last person who is actually hurt. The people who then, since it was not, they could not rig it, they could not cheat it, the people who voted tiny hands in, unlike them, my life, I'm one of those people in the Western world whose life has not been destroyed. And yet I'm saying this. There is something seriously wrong here. And I've posed questions whether the situation of the media is the same in Europe as it is in the Chelsea Manning country. Is there an alternate reality here? Yeah. And again, I've been, calling the United States names, and please believe me, I've also called the Finnish people names. But again, look into yourself. There is something seriously wrong here. It is impossible that the Western world could be as united as it is without sort of artificial means. It is impossible that every time when one of these wars that then, if you look into it, turns out is completely unjustified, when one of these things starts, that, all the ordinary people in the Western world, just everybody, or most of them, have happened to come into the conclusion that this must happen, or that I guess they have to go in, even though I don't know. And all the mainstream media has gone into the conclusion, and this has to be done. Everybody independently come into this conclusion. No, that is not possible. But then the next question about the media, if you take out the fact that you can't have Twitter and Facebook as news networks, that is not possible. But then the European media, I mean, how much of it is controlled in the way, that there's somebody who can elect people in or select people to come in, and they are selected simply because the kind of people they are going to do this thing, and they're going to support this thing and that thing, and they're selected, and that way you get a biased media, that it is planned, or how much of it is because of this austerity that is brought on by neoliberalism, giving all the money to upper classes, and then national states don't have money for anymore for anything. The austerity has hit in Finland the Finnish media totally. They themselves said that they don't have time to fact check everything and to do their jobs. So how much of it is stupidity, meaning that they just print what somebody else says who can be a corporate hack. So how much of it is stupidity and how much of it is corruption? There's no way that I can say at this point. But I'm going to have an extra where I go through this one Finnish article, and it's just an extra. I don't it may be boring to almost everybody, but I'm gonna do it still